Wow.
Let's talk about the title of this because it's called Supermare, and that is what Tiffany Henyard calls herself.
I think they take this serious. I think it's a big game to them, and they don't understand that the more confusion and the more back and forth that we do,
Hold on to your hats, folks, because the drama surrounding Dune Mayor Tiffany Henyard is more than just your grandmother's politica-feed. The She's is a full-fledged scandal, Dal. A soap opera set in a Chicago suburb crazy as a roller coaster at Six Flags. Get ready to be astounded as we launch into the leg of disputes, allegations, ons, and IR-rate individuals who have left the town on the verge chaos. House.
No comment from Mayor Tiffany Henyard. Voters here will first head to the polls in February for the primary election, then the general.
Tiffany High's most revelation, a which could have been a routine dispute, has turned high-stakes power struggle that threatens to tear app community immunity as a whole due to a lawsuit against the village of Dothorum Township. T-ship. This controversy isn't just about the letter law, the law. It's also turned into a battle egos, politics, and governance failures that has left residents struggling with disillusionment, gently. Public opinion has been ingly negative, and those who feel deceived by the mayor's leadership are increasingly calling for her resignation and public removal, and #S demanding responsibility are media. On social media, local trends and vehement debates spaces in public spaces, expressing the co-annoyance. Meanwhile, the conjecture, full of conjecture, whispered backstabbing, analytical backstabbing, and groups finger-pointing. Henyard and faccustointing. Henyard is accused by detractors of putting her personal grandeur before her duties as mayor, claiming that she is squandering township resources and in measures that damage public confidence while governance fails and disarray. Sends into deeper disarray. Her detractor claims in the case serves as one-man meshadration of a leader enmeshed in self-inflicted chaos who is more concerned with Guy Dune's power than problems, Dune's enduring problem infrastructure, deterioratement, tour, widespread finances, many and unstable finances. Many locals Henyard that the leadership of Henyard has matters worse rather than better, pointing to multiple claims of wasteful spending and dubious appointment communitization created without community mounts. Henyardin as the criticism mounts, Henyard defiant, news to act unrepentant and defiant, presenting herself as the victim of planned political sabotage and her critic down. Thisters who want to bring her down. This narrative has locals, acted with a growing number of locals, many of whom smear actions as representative of a mayor who is estranged represent. Immunity she was elected to represent. Dalton is in Henyard's paralleloterm, ISIS as a result of scandal, mistrust, term, which was marked by scandal, mistrust, and wet transparency. To be a concerning lack of transparency. The drama that his devil represents, Abu split, symbolic conflict it represent way, town split, a leadership that has lost its way, and than immunity seeking accountability and complaint. Teases about the legal merits of her complaint. This is the most recent chapter in Tbowerth's turbulent tale of this delicate struggle for power that has the self disgruntled into a rally of flashpoint reform among these disgruntled citizens and accountable, and their hennowing demands to hold those in power accountable. The Hens administration has increased the stakes even further as Doton residents find themselves fighting community for better governance, but also to reclaim their commute future. The escalating controversies that threaten its future.
Thornton Township and in Dalton, except in one case, Tiffany Henyard wants on a ballot, while in another, a Henyard ally was looking to keep her up.
Gal professionals privately speculate that Ithany Henyard may have a stronger case than first thought. The mayor is adamant proceedings, porters were purposefully left out of importangerings, accusing her opponent's base. Lanny Henyard of 8 gathering called the K to exclude her base, and Henyard has made clear accuse a process. Argument expression and anomalies and a biased caucus process. Argument have unexpectedly gained poll process. Ianus Ovu, EIR consequences for the democratic process. In her mayoral his conflict goes beyond the specifics of a local mayor justice and integrity. A greater struggle for electoral justice and integrity. Glaring. Accusations she contends are not only substantive but glaring, with detail Sam thinking that the evidence creates a strong case to showdown contra backremedials, exclusions, year of a political showdown full of backposition. Her exclusions, and a systematic attempt to weaken her position. Discussion. Voter disenfranchisement has become a hot topic of discussion, dry action, and criticism for all her opponent's cause. Henyard her to take action and supporters to rally around the cause. Henyard sees herself not simply as a political figure under attack, but as a champion for a fair vendettas. Critics, however, she claims has been smoke for personal vendettas. Critics, however, view her actions leader. Sane administration tension from her own shortcomings as a leader. Amid an administration already steeped in controversies a camp, reported poor management the lines of battle are clear for Herr Hardamp, this critics. Nevertheless, Henyard's voice of the electorate is heard for her justices. Never manipulation, Yard continues to frame the narrative as one of justice versus manipulation, claiming itself, opponent's tactics are an affront not only tenure, but to democracy itself. An emotion-sure drama hot. Thepter in a polarizing tenure, with the stakes so height-heater, motions running hot. The drama unfa governance, ethics, not ambition, political community-wide reckoning intersection of governor repercussions. This ambition, sparking a community-wide reckoning that could have lasting repercussions, town, content various episode encapsulates the challenges of leadership in a deeply divided town, laying bare the tensions that arise with a phonetical legacy. Clash through with public accountability and a spiraling conflict poised to define Herard legacy.
Off behind me, the doors are locked here, and there's a sign on the building right now that says it's closed for how long? Neither residents nor employees know at this time.
The Lake Dalton seedings are but one pescalated, thermplex and extensive story that is developing in Dalton, where locals' rage has escalated. Their appetite rage reflects their dissatisfaction with what they see as a leadership-style Mets. Theory vendettas over power struggles and a concerning disregard for the town's actual needs. Their frustration extends beyond political machinations to include the neglect of basic services that once supported their sense of community. Growing tension between Mayor Tiffany Henyard and her constituents is not just a political battle, it is a full-blown governance crisis characterized by a deep breakdown of trust. According to insiders, the Henyard's administration has a burned earth policy where maintaining power at all costs has taken precedence over addressing urgent community issues as a result. Vital city operations have come to a standstill and services like public safety and sanitation are being neglected, leaving residents in chaos and reinforcing their conviction that the same person they previously trusted to guide them has deserted. Then the charges extend beyond the realm of administrative incompetence. The closure of municipal offices and the suspension of essential civic services are among the accusations made by Henyard's detractor that her actions are retaliatory and an explicit attempt to punish critics within her administration and the larger community. These actions are interpreted as calculated acts of defiance against opposition rather than necessary fiscal or operational decisions, and they have created Henyard's refusal to compromise has further distanced her from the people she serves in this toxic environment, which has become more hostile with each council meeting, press conference, and Facebook Live session filled with tension and unresolved grievances for the residents of Dalton. What began as a call for better leadership has turned into an all-consuming power struggle because of dynamic. The town's once functional governance has degenerated into political instability, leaving locals angry and disillusioned. Residents now feel helpless due to the situation's worsening state, which is fueled by growing mistrust of Henyard and the system as a whole for allowing such dysfunction to thrive, and the death of resources. The crisis has been made worse. Tasks legged intimidation intervention, NDSC initiatives, in street maintenance, inistration. Vital tasks, such as completely and location, social initiatives, and street maintenance, have been interior retaliation. Ped completely. Locals see these stoppages as intentional rather than in rebellion, public gatherings in, further adding fuel to the fires of a community already on the verge of rebellion. Passionate tech statements turned into spectacles as Dalton residents growing dissatisfaction and powerful and passionate statements and demands for town autotability, and or worse. Emphasis on governance highlight their growing resolve to regain control of their town. To make matters worse, there are whispers within Henyard's inner circle that he is adamant about holding on to power at all costs. As a result, these reports depict the leader who is self-centered and indifferent to the concerns of the community. Henyard, who once presented herself as a force for change, is now accused of using obstructionist tactics to create a hostile and uncertain political and social environment. Her defiance in the face of growing criticism has made this political SAA into a power struggle, with Henyard strengthening her position while residents and council members call for change. According to critics, the overall Henyard is one of Dalton standing on the brink of systemic failure with no resolution in sight. The implications of Henyard's struggled leadership moon large off community. For many residents fear not just for their immediate well-being, but for the long-term viability of the community. Why, for many, the Moder's apparent prioritization of personal power over public service is in duty, to the community. Dalton is dealing conflicts. Residents threatens the foundation of local government and civic duty, not just political drama or personal conflict. Frustration. TS have vowed to use their action. The polls to tank their town in response to the community's call to visions. Frustration, raising urgent calls for action. The stakes for Daytare than ever as it struggles with deep divisions. Fractured leadership and Henyard's administration in the balance at a gloomy reality. Constituents. Untabiasti is reflected in the conflict between Henyard's administration occurrence, recently disenchanted constituents.
Action. Somebody that's actually going to do their job. How about that? Somebody that's come in, work for the people, not them.
As rumors dire, on the underlying causes of this extraordinary occurrence, the upheaval. Effects on the community are evidently dire, leaving people of Dalton dealing with the wave of uncertainty and upheaval. Services have ceased operations, adding to the annoyance of a public already embroiled in controversy with the growing accusations and counterclaims. Theories of some imply that the shutdown is the consequence of a significant, others believe a more planned move was made when the municipality was unable to renew its vital municipal insurance, leaving it without the operational coverage it needs to continue operating. The community is clearly and profoundly affected by a political plot designed to cause disruption, divert public attention, and potentially get leverage in the continuous legal disputes that have characterized Mayor Tiffany Henyard's administration. Regardless of the motivation, people in general, public spaces like parks and weak service facility disrupted, closed, further highlighting the impact of the shutdown on Dalton residents' daily living. Functional. Trash have been disrupted, stopped. Emergency response and other crucial operations understaffed. Municipality. Functional. Trash collection has also stopped, adding a visible layer of neglect to an already true cruxipality issue, which disruption for a better horse, reality that the needs of the community have been subordinated to the crux self-preservation. Is a leader who, for better or worse, has become the subject of criticism and conjecture due to infighting and self-preservation. Critics contend that Henyard's style of governance, which has been characterized by claims of intimidation, power grabs, and personal enrichment, has left the town vulnerable and aimless. They say the shutdown is just the most recent sign of a leadership crisis that has paralyzed Dalton and widened rifts among its citizens. However, Henyard argues that she is being unfairly singled out and that the shutdown is part of a bigger plot to destroy her administration. They claim that structural issues that existed before her term reached a breaking point are now being blamed on her for political reasons. The contrasting accounts have only served to intensify the conjectures regarding the actual reason behind the shutdown. Is it an oversight or failure that stems from incompetent administration, or is it a deliberate vulnerable situation? Focus away from the mayor's legal and political struggles. The shutdown situation. Efforts Dalton's govern practical vulnerable situation, leading many to town if recovery is even feasible given the current entanglements address the Henyard's administration. Rently jeopardize the town's sustainability have been overshadowed by the legal interferences surround municipal Henyard's administration, which ran operations. Allegations of vote Dalton, Russian to allegations of mishap difficulties, Nances, because municipal services are essential to their operations. High schools in Dalton, which already suffer limbo, financial difficulties, incur extra difficulties of dearthable populations who depend on local gov necessities. Their survival are left in lie abandonmental competent populace, struggling due to the dearth in furic wothy public, at support their daily necessities. The solution noticeable sense of abandonment on the populace, harmony people venting their fury at the public, calling for accountability and prompt accusations through meetings or social media. On the unity, our hand, Harsditter service, blame her leadership style for the current disarray in the communplified that light that she closure, division rather than unity, puts power before service. And municipally acts more reactively than proactively have been amplified in like community close superiority. The shutdown, inevitably lead to watershetment, council operations as a result of a larger failure to give governance and community needs priority. The campaigns. Autoug, grassroots level, they're what callsn't. Council members and local municipal operations to band together to demand openness and significant reform campaigns. At the grassroots level, there are calls for increased muni a henhouse. In the meantime, IONS, particularly the discrossroads off public cash and compliance with procedural balance, signed to avoid cases such as this one in the henhouse. In the meantime, Dalton finds undeniable crossroads with its future hanging precariously in the balance. The shutdown profound. It's a challenge and an opportunity while its immediate disruption is undeniable. Its long-term effects on the town's cohesion and resilience may be even tenure. Some action is needed from mains to be seen whether she can use this job and how prove that. Somebody wrong and Rebin told public trust people, it themselves, beginess of the head. Her tenure. Some action is willed hennerum somebody that's act battles, will to do their job. How about that? Some bot constituents, will to work for the people, not themselves, and is looking turmoil. Thinsers remain elusive will hener prev better, her legal battles? Will she louder did Elita regain the trust of her constituents? Will Dalton Eva trainwrecker from this period happened? Or mercy turmoil? This sigh around, and doesn't seem to be getting vet disputes. One-yumers are getting louder. Let's hear from a few people who have posturing, this trainwreck lawyers. These has happened. Rumors astery, ill going around, entanglepearl political and power disputes. One communal trust, she was evicted for her public appearance and posturing, wronged, taxpayers-ing her lawyers. This is not just a local stopped. It's a warning about the perils of unchpeneraweektions, fragility of community trust, and the explicential for conflict of interests. Kudong. Taxpayers shouldn't be the ones who don't want charge. Another commander is how the public perceives Penner's actions, frustration. She is abusing public funds to pursue her personal interests. Costability, a leadership, an adult come to Normalson and take charge. Another remarks. Nobody aided that the controlled, why to reduce the frere-ation. The sense of helplessness that overrides the outcry's desire for stability, leadership, and awe. Turn to normalcy is aptly captured by these remarks. Nobody likes to be controlled, and when you get action you see the impact of it extends beyond the job, how it and the lawsuits that are launched right people, themselves. This merely the most recent indication of a much larger Malay problem that calls for action from someone truly going to do their job. How about someone who is everywhere? Even for the people, not themselves filed, his uncertainty, a result of years of breeding animosity and expending, a leaf that the mayor puts his own interest ahead of the community's welfare and has images everywhere community. The no charges have been filed, this Henyard, which Hasadao brought on by years of dubious spending, makes it difficult for the town to move wrongdoing, and concentrate on the pressing problems facing distraction, 90. The resources, negation that hangs over Henyard casts a long shadow over the entire situation because it feeds rumors and intensifies the sense of wrongdoing that services. Negation itself has become a major distracting democraticing resources, and the Ferris is made more complicated by THAR involvement of other important parties rigged, his disregard for the community's needs and scrutinized. Outside FTH Dalton, players in this narrative is democratic state unresolved. Apollyon Harris, who fill out the inquiry into Har's allegations.